you're thinking about starting a vending machine business in 2026, either as a side hustle or to build serious income, this video is your step-by-step roadmap. Vending is one of the few businesses where you can build something that's simple, scalable, and repeatable, but only if you do it properly. Because if you get the basics wrong, you'll waste money and you'll end up with a vending machine that just sits there only making £3 a day. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process from zero to your first profitable vending machine, and then how to scale it. So here are the steps that we're going to cover today. Number 1, choosing your vending machine model. Number 2, research and planning. Number 3, budgeting and unit economics. Number 4, raising the initial funds. Number 5, UK legal, insurance and compliance basics. Number 6, getting your first location. Number 7, choosing the right machine. Number 8, cashless system and monitoring tech. Number 9, stocking products that actually sell and pricing correctly. Number 10, servicing, restocking, route planning and systems. Number 11, scaling from 1 vending machine to 10 without any chaos. Then number 12, the final step, mentoring and speed running your learning curve. By the end of this video, you'll have a full roadmap for 2026 in the UK the smart way. So grab a pen and paper and let's get into it. Step 1, choosing your vending machine model so you're not guessing. Before you buy anything, you need to decide what business you're going to actually run, because a vending machine business can mean completely different things to completely different people. You've got options like snack and drink vending, higher profit margin categories like PPE, beauty or tech, and then you've got more premium concepts like healthy vending, coffee, fresh food, and even milk vending machines. So here's the rule: start with the simplest model that matches your time, your budget, and access to the locations. If you're brand new, snack and drink vending is normally the first one you go into for consistent cash flow. Then once you've got proof, you can go and experiment, because most beginners do the complete opposite. They pick something cool, they buy a machine, then they panic that it doesn't sell much because the location isn't right. Pick the model first and everything else flows. Step 2, research and planning. This is where you set yourself up to win or set yourself up to bleed money. In 2026, this is what matters more than anything: cash convenience. People expect a tap and go, reliability and uptime. A broken machine is a dead machine. Better product selection. Unfortunately, customers are pickier now. Smarter data tracking. You need to know what is selling and not guess. Now, the first research question that you should be asking is, where am I most likely to place a vending machine that will get used? You want locations with consistent foot traffic, people that stay there long enough to buy and not just walk past. Limited nearby alternatives, so there's no shops or cafes around. Think factories, warehouses, gyms, colleges, office buildings, hotels, hospitals, laundromats, and waiting rooms. Then do basic competitor research. What machines are already there? Are they modern and cashless? What price points are they using? What products do you see sold out? And yes, you can physically go and have a look. That is research that actually matters. Now we're on to step 3, budgeting and unit economics. Now this is the grown-up step. If you ignore it, you'll still start, but you'll start blind. Here are the things that you need to know. Number 1, your startup costs. This includes machine costs, delivery and install, the initial stock fill, card reader and setup fees, any repairs/refurbs needed, insurance, branding, which can include signage and stickers, and a spare parts float. Trust me, it's good to have this on the side. Then number 2, your unit economics, how you actually make the money. For each product, you need to know the following: your cost price, your sale price, gross profit per unit, and how many units you're going to sell per week. So don't get emotional about it. A vending machine doesn't care about your motivation. It cares about numbers. Here is a simple target: stock products where the margin makes sense and they sell frequently, because high margin with low sales is still low profit. Also, your time matters. If a location needs constant restocks and it's far away, that good location might actually be bad for you personally. Now, step 4, raising the initial funds. There are a few realistic ways that people raise funds for the first machine. Option number 1 is using your savings. This is the cleanest option if you can do it safely. Don't wipe out your emergency fund to buy your first vending machine and then start stressing every time your car makes a weird noise. Option 2, income allocation from your job. If you're employed, treat it like a business fund. Set aside an amount each month until you hit that goal number to buy that first machine. Option 3, side hustle funding. Now that's how a lot of people start. This is how I actually first started. Reselling, flipping, doing overtime, even freelancing, whatever can generate cash quickly without any long-term commitments. Option 4, friends and family funding. This can work, but I will be blunt and say don't do handshake deals. If someone's investing in your business, make sure you have clear terms. Who owns what, how they're repaid, and what happens if you stop. The best beginner route is usually buy one vending machine with a solid location and then reinvest the profits to scale. Step 5, UK legal, insurance and compliance basics. Now you don't need to overcomplicate this, but you do need to be legit. Here's some key things to think about in the UK. Your business structure, so sole trader or limited company, basic bookkeeping from day one, a separate business bank account, insurance, agreements with the location, if that's something you want to do. And depending on where you place your vending machines, here's another few things that you might need to consider. PAT testing inspections, health and safety requirements for the premises, permission for signage or placement, and then lastly, data privacy. Now, this is a super boring part, but the boring part keeps you in business. Step 6, getting your first location. This part separates wishful thinking from real business owners. You have 3 ways to get locations. Number 1, cold calling / emailing. This is fast, scalable, but it has high rejection. And yes, rejection is unfortunately part of the job. Number 2, walk-ins. This is underrated if you're confident and friendly. Walking into industrial estates and talking to managers actually works. Number 3, already warm leads. Friends, family, your local network, and businesses that you already use. Now, here's the key. When you pitch, don't make it about you, make it about them. Your offer could look like this. You install and maintain the vending machine. You handle the restocking and service. Their staff and customers get convenience. It costs their business nothing. Here's the truth. Your first yes usually comes after a lot of no's. So if you do 10 outreaches and then quit, you weren't serious. You want to track your outreach like a numbers game. Contacts made, follow-ups due, responses, meetings, and yes and no's. Consistency beats talent here. Step 7, choosing the right machine. So your vending machine choice depends on a few things. The location size, expected demand, space available, power availability, your budget, and your ability to service it. Here is an example. If you land a large warehouse, a simple combo vending machine might get rinsed and be consistently empty. It's better to have a separate snack and drink machine if the foot traffic is super heavy. If you land a small office, a combo machine would be perfect. Now, new versus used vending machines. Refurbs are great if they're from a reputable supplier and if you have some sort of support or warranty, but avoid the classic beginner mistake. Buying a random vending machine cheap, spending months and hundreds of pounds on maintenance, then losing the location because the vending machine is always broken. Reliability is your profit here. Step 8, cashless payments and monitoring tech. In 2026, if you're choosing cash only, you're also choosing less money. Here's a few things that you actually want. Card and mobile payments so people can tap the card or phone. Remote monitoring so you can see the sales without actually physically going to the location. Product mapping and alerts for faults. Cashless isn't just for customer convenience. It's about you running the business smarter. Also, check the compatibility of the vending machine. Some of the older vending machines do not take card readers, so make sure you check this before you buy. Step 9, stocking products that actually sell and pricing correctly. This is where you make money. Here is the golden rule. Sell what people already buy and not what you personally like. Start with best-selling mainstream items, a mix of price points, a mix of quick grab items such as snacks and crisps, and daily repeat items such as water. Then optimize this based on data. Here is a smart move. Leave a simple suggestion sheet or a QR code. The customers then can request the items that they want. With the pricing, make sure you're not underpricing because you feel bad. You're providing convenience and convenience costs. Also, you need to factor in wholesale price fluctuations, time and travel, card reader fees, and spoilage. So if a product goes out of date, your goals isn't just sales, it's profitable sales. Step 10, servicing, restocking, route planning, and systems. This is the operational engine. You need systems for the following: a restock schedule, stock rotation, cash collections, fault handling and maintenance, cleaning, tracking what you bought, what you sold, and what profited. Do not run this off vibes. Even with one vending machine, start simple. A spreadsheet with stock in and out, a note of best sellers, a reorder list, and a regular service checklist, because scaling multiplies the chaos if you don't have systems in place. Which leads into step 11, scaling without chaos. Scaling is just repeating the process but cleaner each time. Here is a cycle. Profitable machine, reinvest the profits, next location outreach, add the machine, improve the operations, and then repeat. And the biggest scaling mistake is people take the profits out of the business too early. If you pull out all the money too early for personal spending, your business will stay small. If you reinvest it, it will just compound. Also, scaling means bulk buying stock, better supplier relationships, better route planning, and then eventually outsourcing, restocking, and maintenance if you grow big. But don't rush outsourcing if you don't understand the business yourself. Learn it first and then delegate. Step number 12, the final step, mentoring and speed running the learning curve. This is a step that most people ignore because they want to figure it out themselves. But here's the reality. You can learn from your mistakes, but mistakes cost a lot of money and time. Having a mentor helps you avoid beginner traps, choose better locations faster, negotiate better deals, build systems earlier, and then scale with less stress. Find someone that's already doing what you want to do and learn their playbook. If you want to start a real vending machine business and get your first vending machine profitable within 90 days, there will be a link in the description so you can book a call with one of my team and they will show you how you can get coached personally by me. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more vending machine business content.